guys, it's Kyra and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I will be reviewing a new palette that I just picked up, and y'all probably like, Kyra, what? You picked up a palette? Yes, I actually went into Ulta and picked up a new palette. I feel like Anastasia was one of the brands that I fell in love with whenever I first got into, not only into makeup, but whenever I started really splurging on makeup and purchasing more high-end products. I'm very excited to try out this new Amrezy palette. Whenever it first came out and I saw it on Instagram, I wasn't quite sure if I was going to buy it, because you guys know how it is whenever things are overhyped, and I just feel like, I was like, oh, like, it looks good. Like, don't get me wrong, like the palette, the colors and everything, it looked really good. It was a matter of just, would it be worth the money? Because this palette here is more on the expensive side. I actually have my receipt here. The palette itself was $49 and it came out to a total of $53 with the tax. And that's just a bit pricey to me for a palette. So here's the packaging, first of all. Definitely going with the vibe of my room for sure. I'm loving the way this looks, and it's the Amrezy Eyeshadow and Pressed Pigment palette. Now, I actually have not even opened this up or swatched any of the shades. So here's the packaging, first of all. Very pink and glittery. It's definitely very girly. So of course it has Amrezy on it. And then inside of here you get 16 shadows, okay? So here are the shades right here, and there's a brush. Okay, so I don't know, a brush came with it, but here are the shades. And y'all, talk about the perfect spring palette. Like, I feel like this palette came out just in time, because like this pink down here and these blue and this blue tone and even these purples right here, like to me it just screams spring. Like, it just brings soft, flirty, floral looks to be created with this palette. So here are the shades right here, and if I had to guess, again, I haven't swatched them yet, but it looks to me like these three right here, this one, which is a shade Barb, this shade, which is a shade Liddy, and this shade here, which is a shade Gemini, it looks like those are the pressed pigments. They're very, very glittery. Like, not glittery, but let's see, I'll swatch Gemini here. Yeah, that's definitely a pressed pigment for sure. Look at this, you guys. Ooh, that's gorgeous. So pretty. Now, I can already tell by this one swatch, you guys, that the pressed pigments I can tell are going to be a bit tricky to work with. You see how right there in that swatch, how the top portion of the swatch, it didn't really pick up the product, but it did apply down here. And that's because there's still a lot of product stuck to my hand. So I don't know like how they created it. Like even right here, look at this. Again, kind of swiping it, like nothing is applying to the back of my hand. Look at this, nothing's coming off, right? But there's still a bunch of product on the back of my finger. So that is going to be interesting for sure, because I feel like they may have used like some sort of glue or adhesive or something like that, that if you pretty much apply the pressed pigments with your finger, you'll have this problem. So that kind of worries me, because you want the product to actually apply onto your eyes and not be stuck onto your finger or the brush, you know? So that kind of worries me, but we'll see. I'll go ahead and swatch Liddy too. Okay, so here's Liddy. There you go. And same thing. Again, here in this swatch, you see how it applied kind of patchy? Like here in the center, how there's no product there? But again, there's still a bunch of product on my finger. So like if I keep doing this, like nothing is coming off onto my arm, but there's still a bunch of product here on my finger. So I think it could be the formula of those pressed pigments. Honestly, it kind of worries me, because since that's just how it looks with my hand, I can only imagine how it would apply with my fingers. So that I'm honestly a bit worried about, but that's the shades Gemini and Liddy. Just first impressions, I don't think that the pressed pigments will be my go-tos, even though those are like the most gorgeous shades in the entire palette. Let's try the shade Barb here. Okay, so Barb, not so bad. It's like a really pretty holographic shade. It's gorgeous. I love that color. We're gonna try and see how it works. And then it looks like we have 6 matte shades, and I really am pleased with the matte shade range, You guys know I hate whenever palettes don't include mattes that are really usable to create a full look. Like if I have to pull out another palette to get, you know, a burnt orange or a dark brown, like if I can't make a whole eye look with the palette, then it's not really a palette, you know what I'm saying? So, and also especially for women of color, because you guys know that certain shades don't pick up on our skin tone the way it would on other skin tones. So I like these here, it's these 6, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like these 6 here are a great shade range for all skin tones, first impressions though. But taking the shade here, I'm gonna swatch some of them. So you have the shade Virgo, pretty brown. You have BK, black. Y'all, is it just me or is it, I don't know if I'm tripping or not. I just feel like the shades are just applying patchy. Even this black, you guys see that black right there? You see how it's not smooth all the way down? Even the brown here is just applying patchy. That, I just do not like that. I'm like, for a $50 palette, no. So, okay, let's try this shade here, Simsa. I love this shade of purple, and please let it apply correctly. Okay, so here's Sensa. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, I love that one. And then I'll go ahead and apply like one more shade. I'll apply 2 more shades. I'm gonna apply the shade Reezy, which is this really pretty metallic pink here, and then the shade Georgina. I feel like Anastasia's metallic shades have always been a hit. And that looks really pretty, so I'll apply it right here. Okay, yeah. So the metallic shades for sure are nice. Well, this one here in particular is nice. Like I like the way this looks, I like the color, love the shade, just like how it looks. And then lastly, I'll apply the shade Georgine, which is a really pretty metallic brown. And y'all know I love a good brown. And I'll apply this one right there. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. So pretty. First impression, the pressed pigments, not a huge fan of. I'm gonna try it though on my eyes just to see how it applies, but I'm not a huge fan of it so far. The matte shades, we'll see how they work out. They just are applying a bit on the patchier side, which worries me, but the metallic shades though are doing great. So we will see how it goes. And I'm actually going to use the actual brush that came with the palette. I do like how Anastasia's shadow palettes always include this like double-ended brush. So I want to use this to apply my shadow here. Okay, so now it is time for the fun part, which is going to be to test out this bad boy on our eyes and see how it really applies and how it really holds up and blends out and all that good stuff. So for my shadow primer, I'm going to take the MAC Lane Low Paint Pot. I was actually going to get the actual Anastasia Beverly Hills Shadow Primer, but when I tried it in the store, I wasn't a huge fan of it. First of all, I like that it's white, and then it's just a little bit too thick and tacky for me, just for my personal taste. I was just like, I'll just stick with my MAC Lane Low. And funny enough, you guys, I actually haven't been applying shadow primer onto my eyes. Well, I haven't really been doing my makeup like that to really need it. But I haven't used this probably like a few months. But because I am using more pigmented and more colorful shadows, I really want them to pick up on my skin tone. So I'm gonna use a base a little bit lighter than my complexion to really give those shadows something to stick to and show up whenever we apply them. Okay, so once I bring you guys in closer so you can get a really good idea of how the colors really look. I think I really do want to do something with this pink shade. I don't know, y'all. I feel like there's so many different shades in here that I can really do a bunch of different things. So that's kind of like what's kind of, I don't know. Okay, first of all, in my crease, I'm gonna go in with the shade New Yorker. I can actually hear that like in her accent. Okay, so taking the fluffy end of the brush, and I also really do like how this palette has a mirror. I can't remember if all of her palettes always include a mirror. I honestly cannot remember. It's been a while, but I do like how this one has a mirror that I'm using here at the top, and it's nice and big, so it's great for like on the go application. So our crease color is in, so a really pretty soft reddish brown. Not mad at it at all. And it actually applied really well, blended out well. I'm gonna take this Morphe M330 brush right here. It's more of a dome shaped brush because I really want to get this color right into the crease. So I'm gonna take the shade 1988, which is this one right here. Ooh. Okay. Y'all see that? This, you just tap it and it just like breaks up. You guys see how broken this one is right here? It like got everywhere. I don't know why that is because this one right here in New York didn't have that problem at all. So I don't know why 1988 is acting up, but moving forward. Okay, I'm gonna just take this and apply this right in the crease. Okay, that looks good. They are blending out really well, I can't even lie. Taking my MAC 217 brush, I'm gonna now go in with the shade Simsa, which is this really pretty lilac purple, and just pop this in the crease as well. I'm trying to just build up the crease. Now, for the lid color, thinking of doing the shade Reezy, with a little bit of barb on top, and then putting the color Cupcake in my inner corner, right? And then maybe for the lower lash line doing Leo, or just Simsa, I'm not quite sure, but I'm thinking of doing Reezy on the lid. So taking my brush, bring it first, taking the other end of the Anastasia Beverly Hills brush. So with the brush, it's not really doing anything for me. Honestly, it's just, it doesn't really pick up very well. So I'll try my finger. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so with these, I mean, of course, like with most metallic shades, your finger is going to be your best tool. And I did bring the color up just a little bit into the crease, just that way you can still see that pink whether my eyes are closed or not, like so. I'm gonna take the fluffy end of the brush, a little bit of 1988, no, a little bit of Simsa, and just apply it to the edges, to the inner and outer corner. Going in a little bit with the shade Yugo, so really deep, I can't tell if that's brown or like a deep purple. And just applying this to the inner and outer corner. And I'm pretty much kind of stamping it like right in the outer areas. Okay, and then to top it off, I want to take a little bit of the shade Barb, okay? Taking a hint of the shade Wasted, which is this really pretty light champagne shade there. Let's pop that brow bone. I'm trying to figure out how to use the shade Leo. Like I'm determined to incorporate this blue shade here into this look somehow. So I'm gonna take this Urban Decay Glide On Pencil in the shade Chaos. So really pretty blue, like that. I'm gonna apply this to my waterline first. One thing I will say about this Anastasia palette is that I didn't hardly get any fallout. I have a few little glittery speckles from the shade Barb, but other than that, I don't really have any fallout, and that is a plus for sure. So there's the blue liner, and then taking the shade Leo. Whoa, y'all, do y'all see that? Look at that blue. So that is the look. Into here, I feel like I've used most of the main colors, honestly. Ones that I wanted to use I haven't touched yet is Dragon, Georgina, and some of the browns down here. But I feel like those are pretty easy to create looks with because, I mean, browns are easy to work with. Overall, I really do like it. I really, really do. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the eyes alone for now. I'm gonna go ahead and pop on some lashes. Actually, I'm gonna apply some glue to my lashes first. The lashes I'm using today they're actually from Amazon. They're the Style F810, F810 from Amazon. They're really pretty. I love these lashes and they're super affordable too. I'm gonna just go ahead and pop these on, or actually apply some glue first and let them sit while I go on and do my lips. Okay, so while those dry, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lips. And for lips today, I'm not quite sure what kind of lip I wanna do. I'm thinking like a glossy pink. I think that would be really pretty with this eye look. And I find because the eyes are so bold and so glittery and so flirty and just so different, I I think that doing some sort of glossy pink lip would really complement the eye. I think I may mix these two right here. And these are actually Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipsticks. This one here is a shade Craft, and this one here is a shade Catnip. I think those would be pretty. Okay, so gonna take my MAC Night Moth liner. Okay, and then going in with the shade Craft liquid lipstick by Anastasia. I'm gonna apply this to the outer areas on my lips. Okay, and then taking the shade Catnip, which is a little bit of a lighter shade, and applying that. Alright, y'all, went ahead and popped on my falsies and also applied some mascara to my top and bottom lashes. And you know what? I was gonna go ahead and add a gloss on top of my lip, but I really like the lip the way it is. I feel like this combo just came out really well. So you guys, here's the final look using the Amrezy eyeshadow and pressed pigment palette. Honestly, I have like mixed feelings about it, because it's like there are some great pros about it, and then there are some cons that I'm like, eh. For me, I feel like, first of all, I do really love the shade range, right? I love the shade range, and I love that you can pretty much create like a million different looks with this one palette. You can do like smoky eyes with the brown tones. You can do brighter, brighter, more bolder looks with the, the blue and the purple tones. You can even just do like a natural everyday glam with just, the shade New Yorker there. So I feel like it does really have a good shade range. I also really did like the way that the shadows applied. They picked up really well, applied well. I didn't get any patchiness in terms of blending or just the way it applied on the eyes. Like, it looks really nice and seamless, and I really do like how it looks on me and also how it applied and blended out as well. So that's also a pro. And I also am in love with the metallic shades, but I feel like Anastasia has always done a really great job with her metallics. For me, the pressed pigments and the matte shades are so-so. They're, they're not bad, but they're not amazing either. I have used other palettes in the past whose pressed pigments, like where they're more glittery, have just shown up much better and have applied much better. And you guys saw the fiasco with swatching it on my arm. Like, it kind of goes to tell you that whatever formula that they used in the pressed pigment, something about it is preventing pretty much what you pick up, with whether it's your finger or with the brush, it's preventing it from applying completely onto, your hand if you're swatching, or onto your eyes. So for me, I feel like the pressed pigments are more so like good toppers, rather than using them as like an overall lid shade. So that I'm not a huge fan of. I also feel like the matte shades they're just okay. Like, yes, they blended out well. Yes, they picked up. They're not as pigmented as I would have liked. Personally, what I see in the pan is what I want to apply directly onto my eyelid. Like, if there's a variation between the two, then that means that something in, the formula is not really doing its job. This orange here, as orange and as pigmented as it is in the pan, I didn't get that on my crease and in my, on my lid. So for me, I say that the metallics are a win, but the mattes are a bit of a miss, as well as the pressed pigment. So that is my thoughts on the palette. Again, the whole look came out beautifully, and I do love this shade range. This is definitely a fun palette. Like, this is a palette that if you want to try out fun looks and play around with, this is going to be what you want to reach for. I give it, honestly, about a 5 out of 10, and I say a 5 out of 10 because to me it's like 50-50. It's like, part of me is like, I love the metallics, and the look came out so well that I'm like, okay, I can make it work. But I'm also like, for me, it's like, if the whole palette doesn't work, I'm not a huge fan of it. I feel like if I'm spending money on a palette, the whole palette, everything in the palette should work for me. That's kind of why I'm like, like 50-50 on it. And then also, I feel like because the palette is more on the expensive side, I mean, it is a $50 palette. So because it is a more expensive palette, I just don't know if I think that it's worth it, if that makes sense. Like, it's pretty, I'm just not convinced that it is worth it. So That's why I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. You know, I like it, but I just don't love it. So hope you guys enjoyed this demo and review of the Anastasia Beverly Hills new Amrezy shadow palette. If you guys enjoyed not only the review and the demo, but also the finished look, then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.